Judiciary is continuing. Plus one political science. Now, in this topic, during the period of 1967 and 73, the controversy became very serious. Controversy was becoming very serious. Apart from land reform laws, what were land reform laws? Any the laws, land reform laws, laws enforcing preventive detention. एक तो land reforms के ऊपर there was a controversy. On the controversy, the one point was on land reforms. Another controversy was preventing detention, preventive detention. What is the meaning of preventive detention? That someone who is going to be preventive by the judiciary, by the law, and he can be detained. He has not done anything wrong, but it is just an apprehension that he could be detained. That is preventive detention. किसी ने कोई गलती नहीं की है, पर कि वो गलती ना कर दे इसलिए उसको डिटेन कर देना, that is called preventive detention. Laws governing prevent reservation in the jobs, reservation in the jobs. Basically, any reservation is sometimes that there are two groups of people. Somebody says that there should be a reservation. Someone says that there should be no reservation. This is a bone of contention because some people say that the people who are reserved one, they used to get unduly advantage. That advantage is not acceptable, right? That is that always there is a controversy between yes reservation, no reservation. So that is laws governing reservation in jobs. Why it is? Because in educational institution also, in the jobs also, there are always reservation. Someone says it should not be, someone says it should be there, reservation. Regulation acquiring private properties. Private properties, these properties could be acquired by the government whenever the government needs it. When the government wants it, they can have this private property from the public and for the public purposes also, for the army purposes also, military purposes also. That is there, and this was reforming laws of land reform laws, right? And laws deciding the compensation for such acquisition. जो जमीन आपसे ले ली गई है उसके बदले में आपको कितना खजाना दिया जाए, how much money the government should pay to you. The compensation, how much compensation the people want and how much compensation the government wants to give them. So that is on the private property, and there were instances of the conflict between the legislature and the judiciary. There was a contention between the judiciary and the people and the legislature. Right, there's a bone of contention. How much money the government should pay and how much money they demanded. Who? The people demanded. So, during the period of 1967 to 73, the controversy became very serious. Apart from land reform laws, laws enforcing preventive detention, number one, laws governing reservation, number two, another education institutional, number three, regulation acquiring private property for the public purposes, and laws deciding the compensation for such acquisition of private property were some of the instances of the conflict between the legislature and judiciary, which I gave you, which I defined you just now. So, in 1973, the Supreme Court gave a decision that has become very important in regulating the relation between the Parliament and the judiciary. Since then, this is a case famous as Keshav Nanda Bharti case. Sometimes it could be a question that explain the Keshav Nanda Bharti case, right? So, it was very important. This case was famous as a what was the relation? What should be the relation between judiciary and the legislature? Why there is a contention? Because judiciary says they are very powerful, and judiciary and the legislature says they are very powerful. This case is famous as the Keshav Nanda Bharati case. In this case, the court ruled that there is a basic structure of the constitution, and nobody, not even the parliament, through amendment can violate the basic structure. So, there is always a point of amendment. The point of amendment. In the point of amendment means when the constitution cannot be changed, but constitution part could be rectified. If that particular law is very old, new law could be introduced. How could they introduce a new law? When the old laws will be amended, then only the new laws will be there. So amendment is there. You cannot change the constitution. So, not even the parliament through amendment can violate the basic structure. The court did two more things. First, it said that the right to property, the disputed issue, was not part of the basic structure and therefore could be suitably abridged. Secondly, the court reserved the right to decide whether various matters are part of the basic structure of the constitution. And this bone of contention is on the basic structure, right, of the land reform bill. So, and private property, land reforms in the private property. The case is perhaps best example how judiciary uses its power to interrupt the constitution. When there is a need of amendment, constitution can be amended through the 2/3 majority of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha and through the President of India after its signature. This ruling has changed the nature of conflicts between legislature and judiciary. This ruling has changed the nature of conflicts between the legislature and the judiciary. Legislature judiciary के relation को इसने change कर दिया. As we studied earlier, the right to property was taken away from the list of fundamental rights. The right to property has been taken away from the list of fundamental rights. Now, your right to property is not your fundamental right. In 1979, it was taken away in 1979. And this also helped in changing the nature of the relationship between these two organs of the government. Basically, they are the four pillars of the government. What were those four pillars? First of all, legislatures. They made the law, legislature. Then there is executive, who execute the law. Then there is the judiciary, who has got the knowledge of watchdog, to behave just like a watchdog, that no one should break the law. And which is the fourth pillar? That is called, your press, newspapers, magazine, press and all. These are the fourth pillar. So, So the right, this property, the right to property was taken away from the list of fundamental rights in 1979, and this also helped in changing the nature of the relationship between these two groups of government. Now, some issues still remain a bone of contention between the two. अभी भी बहुत सारे issues पड़ी हुई हैं जो bone of contention है, झगड़े का फसाद का कारण है. Can the judiciary intervene in regulate the functioning of the legislatures? क्या judiciary legislatures के behavior को, legislatures के function work को, उनके functioning को interfere कर सकती है? कौन? जुडिशरी. क्या इसके हाथ में है? क्या some issues are there that can judiciary intervene and regulate the functioning of the legislature? Right. Legislatures in the parliamentary system. India is having parliamentary system. In the parliamentary system, the legislature has the power to govern itself, regulate, and behavior. Govern the itself behavior of members. Thus, the legislature can punish a person who Thus, the legislatures can punish a person who the legislature holds guilty of breaching privileges of legislature. लेजिस्लेचर किसी को पनिश कर सकता है, किया जा सकता है जिससे लगे कि उसने उसके नॉर्म्स एंड कंडीशन को तोड़ा है. Can a person who is held guilty for breach of parliamentary privileges seek protection of the courts? Can you go to the court to seek the protection? Right? Can you go? Should you be allowed to seek the protection from the court? Can a member of the legislature against whom the legislature has taken disciplinary action get protection from the court? क्या उसे कोर्ट प्रोटेक्ट कर सकता है? Suppose he has gone into the lap of the court. These issues are unresolved. Means some issues are still unresolved. You can go or you cannot go. And the matters are potential conflict, and these matters are very much in the nature of the conflict between the two, between the whom? Legislatures and the judiciary. Similarly, the Constitution provides that the conduct of judges cannot be discussed in the parliament. This is Constitution provide करती है कि conduct किसके conduct? Judges के conduct उसे पार्लियामेंट में डिस्कस नहीं किए जा सकते. You cannot discuss the conduct of judges into the parliament. There have been several instances where the parliament, state legislatures have cast aspersions, aspersions on the functioning of the judiciary. What do you mean by aspersions? Aspersions. Aspersion means an attack on the reputation or integrity of someone or something. Right? Attack on the reputation or integrity of someone or something. So you cannot put a question mark on the judge and his conduct So similarly, the judiciary too has criticized the legislature and issued instructions to the legislatures about the conduct of legislative business. So, So I told you some issues still remain a bone of contention between the two. Can the judiciary intervene in the regulate the functioning of the legislature? In the parliamentary system, the legislature has the power to govern itself and to regulate the behavior of its members. Thus, legislatures can punish a person who the legislature holds guilty of breaching privilege of legislatures. Can a person who is held guilty of breach of parliament privilege seek protection of the court? क्या वो कोर्ट में जा सकता है? Basically, can a member of the legislature against whom the legislature has taken disciplinary action get protection from the court? Can a legislature can have the protection from the court also? These issues are unresolved. I told you these issues are bone of contention, but they are unresolved also, and are matters of potential conflict between the two. Similarly, the Constitution provides. Similarly, the Constitution provides that the conduct of judges cannot be discussed in the Parliament. Conduct of judges cannot be discussed in the Parliament. जजेस के कंडक्ट को आप डिस्कस नहीं कर सकते हो कहाँ पे पार्लियामेंट में. There have been several instances where the parliament and state legislature have cast aspersions on the functioning of the judiciary. Similarly, the judiciary too has criticized the legislatures. Judiciary sometimes criticized and issued instructions to the legislatures about the conduct of legislative business. There's sometimes, legislature also not behaving properly in the parliament. Then judiciary also gave its instances, that their conduct is not accepted. So, who is behaving properly? Judiciary is behaving properly, or the legislature is behaving properly? Right. The legislature see this is a violating the principles of parliamentary sovereignty. Or legislatures, legislatures, they always think that they are the supreme authority. So they used to think that if the judiciary is intervening into their conduct, into their functioning of the aspect, then the legislature see that this is a violating principle of parliamentary sovereignty. Right? These issues indicate how delicate the balance between the two organs of the government, because they are always fighting with each other to show the supremacy. Legislature used to show that they are supreme, and the judiciary used to say that they are supreme. And they both of them said that they should not intervene in others' matters. And basically, judiciary should not, intervene in the legislators' conduct and their behavior. And legislature used to think, and judiciary used to think that legislature should not behave in them also. Right. So So the legislature see that violating the principles of parliamentary sovereignty. So they used to think that this behavior is not acceptable and this is breach of privacy and breach of parliamentary sovereignty. So these issues indicate how delicate the balance between any two organs of the government, and how important it is for the each organ of the government in a democracy to respect the authority of others, So the parliament says and the judiciary used to say that they should respect the each other's supremacy and each other's authority. एक दूसरे की जो whatever their rule and regulations are, whatever the duties, they should respect each other. If they respect each other, then there will be no bone of contention. Then there will be no fighting in between them. So check your progress, how the judges are appointed, salaries allowances of the judges, scope of parliament's power to the armed and amend the constitution. I'm sorry, scope of parliament's power to amend the constitution, scope of parliament's power to amend the constitution, and the interference of the parliament in the functioning of the judiciary. So this is the end of the topic. Tomorrow I will go for the conclusion part. Thank you.